In this week's Seder of VaYishlach, Yaakov Avinu is effectively forced to confront his brother Esav, who is approaching him with an army of 400 men. And in the middle of the night, Yaakov Avinu, after all, no one could possibly sleep. Yaakov Avinu gets up in the middle of the night. He takes his two wives. He takes his two shvachos, Bilhah and Zilpah. And the pasuk tells us, and he took his 12 sons, and he crossed the river Yabok. And Rashi comes along and he cites the Medrash, Vidina Heichon Hoysa. 11 sons. What about the one daughter that's mentioned in the Torah? His beloved daughter Dinah. Where was she? Says the Medrash, Nosna Beteva. Yaakov Avinu had placed her in a box, and famously slammed the door shut and locked it. Why? In order that when Yaakov would present his entire family in front of his brother, his archenemy Esav, he would present his wives, all of them, and he would present his sons, but not his daughter Dinah. And Yaakov Avinu, having feared that Esav would set his eyes upon her and perhaps even take her as a wife, Yaakov was punished for this, states the Medrash, for withholding her from his brother. For at the end of the day, maybe she could have brought him around. Maybe Dinah could have made about tshuva out of Esav. And asks the Maggid Meishar and Rav Mordechai Druk, Zecher Tzaddik Livracha, that famed Maggid from the Zichron Moshe area of Yerushalayim Kodesh, he says, wait a minute. Esav was approximately at this age, according to calculations, around 97 years old. 97, an elder bacher, married several times. And how old was Dinah? Dinah was approximately 7 years old. So what possible sway could Dinah have had upon Esav? And therefore, why in the world was Yaakov punished? And he answers as follows. He says, we need recall that when Leah had given birth to her sixth son, to Zvulun, after her shvachos had given birth to two sons on behalf of Yaakov Avinu as well, she became pregnant once again. And when she became pregnant at that time, we're told clearly in last week's Sedra of Vayetze that she gives birth to a daughter. And the name given to this daughter is, of course, Dinah. And Rashi explains Alatar on the spot, the reason that she named her Dinah was because effectively she engaged in self-judgment. And she said to herself, if I give birth to another son, that will be effectively the 11th son born on behalf of Yaakov. Because I've already had 6, and both shvachos have given birth together to 4, so that's 10. I'll give birth to an 11, and I know clearly that Yaakov is not meant to have more than 12 sons. And therefore, if I give birth to a son, then my sister Rachel won't even be able to be the equivalent of one of the shvachos. She'll only be able to have one son born to Yaakov. And therefore, Vatikra es Shema Dinah. But Rashi tells us, Shedona Leah din ba'atzma im ze zachar lo sehi Rachel achosi ka'achas hashvachos v'hispalala, and she therefore davened earnestly to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'nepach lenekeva. She davened earnestly to Hashem Yisparach, and that child that she held within her womb, that was supposed to have been, indeed, an 11th son for Yaakov Avinu, that son was changed, as it were, according to Chazal, into a nekeva, into a girl, and she was named Dinah. Well, says Rav Druk, we know clearly by the very next psukim that when Rachel becomes pregnant, the first son that she gives birth to is named Yosef. And it was that child, Yosef, that really was originally in the womb of Leah, but was changed into a girl, into Dinah, or perhaps it was swapped from the womb of Leah into that of Rachel, and the child that Rachel would have given birth to otherwise, namely a daughter, was placed into the womb of Leah. But knowing this, suggests Rav Druk, he says, we know, based upon a pasuk in Avadia, that we are told that the nemesis of the archenemy of Klal Yisrael, namely Esav, that the salvation in that war is the power of Yosef. V'haya beis Yaakov eish, that the house of Yaakov will be that of a fire, ubeis Yosef lahava, and the home of Yosef will be that of a torch carrying the fire forward, ubeis Esav lakash, and Esav will be that of stubble. And the stubble will be devoured and destroyed by the power of Yaakov, albeit specifically through the agency of Yosef. And therefore Yosef is that koach, that power that we have to destroy our arch enemy Esav. And we are told with an understanding as well that therefore the first Mashiach in the war of Gog and Magog will be Mashiach ben Yosef, who will lead us in battle, destroying Esav. And then first, there will be heralded the arrival of Mashiach ben David. Says Rav Druk, if that koach and power that was invested within Esav is the power of destroying Esav, then how do we know that in fact Dinah, who would have otherwise been Yosef, how do we know that she didn't have the very same power to overcome Esav? But instead of overcoming him by destruction, perhaps she could have influenced him as his zivug, as his Ezer Kenegdo, as his wife, and have influenced him with love and brought him around with love and changed Esav into the brother that Yaakov could have had, who in partnership could have taken on the world, all due to the efforts of the daughter Dinah that was locked inside the box and was withheld from Esav. Isn't it so true in life that enemies are often destroyed because their opponents feel simply unable to bring them closer as friends? And isn't it true even sometimes as parents? If we see a bad midah, if we see a terrible characteristic that promises horrific things in the future potentially for our child, we try to destroy that midah. Instead, perhaps, of working with that midah and turning it around 180 degrees with a sense of love and formidable relevance. When Yaakov Avinu goes to meet Esav, and he is the arch enemy of Yaakov Avinu, he elects to hide Dinah in a box, saying to himself, rather, Va'alu Moshiach b'Har Tzion l'shpodas haresav, that will wait till the time of Mashiach. And at that point in time, we will arise upon the mountain of Zion, and we will effectively render judgment from Hashem Yisbarach upon Esav and take care of him well in his destruction. But who knows, just who knows, if that would not have been necessary had Yaakov Avinu not hidden Dinah, had Dinah been given as a wife to Esav, and had Esav been turned around, not destroyed, but rather built up, refined, changed into the person he could have been through the efforts and agency of a powerful, magnificent wife, and how history would have been changed so greatly forever. Have a wonderful Shabbat.